What's up, guys? Buckle up because you're about to enjoy an excellent Snaps game preview where we tell you everything you need to know about this weekend's game and probably some stuff that you didn't. Enjoy. The actual biggest game of the weekend, for sure, and that is Ohio State, Oregon. Once again, let's revisit our theme from Monday. Is there a gorilla? Is there a prohibitive favorite? Ohio State looks to be, I would say, the closest to being that team. This, though, will be their first real test in which we can figure out some of the truth of that matter. How about this for an oversight on our part, Aaron? So in that Monday show, we did our tier 1 championship contenders, tier 2 championship contenders. We did not mention Oregon. Not once. Did not put them as our first tier contenders or second tier contenders. That's how bad the start was from Oregon, is that everybody, including us, just started to ignore them, and they've kind of been getting quietly better in the background.
They're giving up a lot of rushing yards, but no, overall, yes, this is two playoff teams. This is two of the best coaches. The game is in Eugene, which I think if this game was in Ohio State, no doubt about it. If this was in Columbus, this is Ohio State wins this football game.
Yeah.
8 out of 10 times. I think Ohio State's a better football team. You have to factor in the Ohio State traveling all the way to the West Coast, playing in Eugene, night game too. It's going to be loud. It's going to be rowdy. That is one of the most intimidating environments in all of college football. That is a huge factor in this game, and Ohio State has not been in that kind of environment this season just yet with a brand new quarterback. So it's gonna be a damn good football game. And guess what? Dylan Gabriel plays big in big time games. We just talked about Texas Oklahoma last year, and the dude balled out. So he's kind of the X factor for Oregon in this game. Has the 5 games been enough for him to get used to the new offense, the new players around him, and then go out there and have a similar game to what he had a year ago when he faced Texas at Oklahoma?
That's one thing that I find to be kind of interesting here, Aaron, is are you willing to say that I think both these quarterbacks have big wins on their resumes. Obviously beating Texas last year for Gabriel was huge, and how he did it, right? Leading that game-winning drive, gotta have it, making the plays. But then also, Will Howard beat TCU to win the Big 12 championship.
Yeah.
Remember that. That's an undefeated TCU team going to the playoff. Kansas State had maybe already lost 2 or 3 games at that moment, and Will Howard engineered a win. Now, I don't remember him having the heroic moments that Gabriel did, but I just don't want to completely gloss over the fact that Howard's been in a really big stage before as well and played well in that situation.
We agree that Dylan's the better quarterback of the two, though. If you had to choose which quarterback you want, I'm picking Dylan.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, if we chose which defense we want, we're picking Ohio State.
Yes. I think you're picking Ohio State for a lot of things in this game. I think you're picking Ohio State for running backs. You're picking Ohio State for receivers. And Oregon's great at receivers. Tez is having a great year. The kid from A&M that transferred to Oregon's kind of been so-so this year. Hasn't really done a lot. I think you're picking Ohio State running backs, receivers, and I think overall defense, you're picking Ohio State too. So yeah, once again, if this game was in Columbus, Ohio State wins it. Ohio State's the better football team. Ohio State has more talent than Oregon right now. It's just the problem is it's going to be in Eugene, and you have a quarterback in Dylan Gabriel who's pretty magical in these moments. Evan Stewart, thank you, bro. Evan Stewart just not nice, man. Yeah, he hasn't really shown up yet.
Yeah, I mean, Tez is averaging 8.6 catches per game for 79 yards. It's 7th in the Big Ten right now. The thing about Oregon's offense is right now Dylan Gabriel is the most efficient passer in the entire country. I think he's completing 77% of his passes, somewhere along there. They're getting better every week. They're still missing a little bit of the edge that they had under Bo Nix. They were a bit more explosive. They were a bit better in the red zone, a bit better on third down. That said, like I said, they've been getting better every week. But what they're running into in Ohio State, statistically on the defense, is mind-blowing. So Ohio State right now is only giving up 6.8 points per game. That is number 1 in the country. They're only giving up 72 rush yards per game. That is number 3 in the country. They're only giving up 129 pass yards per game. That is number 4 in the country. They lead the Big Ten with 3.4 sacks per game. They only allow opponents' offenses to convert 30% of their third downs. That is second in the Big Ten. You are talking about a defense that is putting up old school 2011 numbers at this point, and they have a couple Big Ten teams that they played. They're not great, you know.
Yeah.
Who was it? Michigan State and
Iowa.
And Iowa, right? Yeah, and we all know about
And you know,
Iowa.
and you know how I feel about your boy now at Michigan State too. Watching him for the past couple of weeks.
Aiden Chili's is great, dude.
Uh-huh.
He's young. Let my guy fucking grow a little bit, dude. He's trying to resuscitate a program destroyed by Mel Tucker's horniness. Give my man a little time, dude. You're mid. How about you don't throw so many picks in Florida, Georgia? How about that?
I still won the game. But yeah, I agree. I wish I didn't. I'm 100% with you. I wish I didn't. I'm surprised they invited me to be in the Hall of Fame for that game with how bad I played. Bro, I think they just looked at the record and said, "Oh, you're 3-1. You must have done great."
If you go 3-1, you get in the Georgia Florida Hall of Fame, 100%. News says asterisk on all those Ohio State stats. I mean, no,
a little bit.
Like a little bit, but like
we know they're going to be that good on defense. Like we all knew that this was an elite defense a year ago. They returned the majority of them. Plus, you got one of the best players in college football from Alabama to now be your starting safety. This defense was only going to get better. So I don't think this was just because it's Iowa and just because it's Michigan State that the stats are skewed. Like, no, this defense is maybe the best defense in the country. You have a defense, and then you have a run game. You got exactly what you need to go on the road and win this football game in Eugene.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. Defensive running ball travels, right?
Damn right.
Like it may not be 6.8 points. You know, see, like World Paints is a little bit like Ole Miss stats for Kentucky. I disagree. Now I do agree. Look, it's not going to be 6.8 points per game, right?
No.
It's not going to be that absurd. But like Aaron said, we already thought this was probably the best defense in the country. So watching them do this is not surprising.
They only gave up 11 points per game a year ago defensively for Ohio State.
The more surprising part to me would be if Oregon, whose O-line has left a lot to be desired. Now they shuffled things around. They've moved in a new center. They shuffled everybody around him. I think I read something where they gave up like 6 or 7 sacks first couple weeks. In the last 3 games since, I think it's maybe down to 1 sack. But still, they ain't faced anything like this. I'm worried about that Oregon offensive line. How did Michigan beat Ohio State? Because they were tougher. They were able to run the ball, and they could completely control the flow of the game. I don't see look, I don't think Oregon's gonna be able to run it on him. Aaron, is there a world where Oregon can create that game control with their efficient passing attack?
Well, that's how that is their run game now. I mean, that is their run game. That it's a Dinkin, it's a Duncan.
So
there's a reason why
against Ohio State to control.
100%. Because of Gabriel. Because Gabriel's very experienced in this type of offense. He is accurate with the football. I mean, he's 130 for 167. That is wild stats throwing the football. So
that is exactly what Bo Nix was pretty much. So that like 77% completion percentage. That's what he was in this offense.
Well, and that goes back to what we talked about earlier. With this is for every underdog. This is unless you're playing an offense it doesn't matter about time of possession. Time of possession is still a big deal. It's not like Ohio State is this up tempo, fast paced offense that can score in 3 or 4 seconds. Like no, like they are still an offense that moves the ball methodically down the field. So if you can eliminate possessions by staying on the field with Dylan's legs, with these quick passes, I know Oregon wants to go fast at times, but this is a game where I kind of slow it down a little bit. Make sure your defense is nice and rested. Allow the crowd to get their energy back for when they're back on defense as well. That way it's nice and loud and juicy from an environment standpoint. But that's the key for all these underdogs. You got to eat the clock up. And I think this offense and his legs can allow you to do that a little bit. Because I'm still not a believer in Will Howard. Like, if there's a big question mark in this football game for me, it's not Oregon's offensive line. It's not Oregon's defense. It's not any of it. It is truly, for me,
it's got to be Oregon's offensive line a little bit. No,
a little bit, but I'm saying my biggest is still, I don't know how good Will Howard is. I really don't. He may go out there in this football game and throw 3 picks and Oregon wins it by 10 points. Like, that is very much possible in happening in this football game.
Now, that's interesting because I shut that down in the Texas conversation, but that's definitely at play here.
That's 100% at play here.
Like Will Howard could choke this thing away,
Yes.
potentially. How about this? It's going to be very interesting. I wonder how many times Ohio State runs the ball this
Where
game.
Oregon's losses last year? They were just to Washington because Penix was freaking amazing.
No, I think they ran the ball. I think Washington ran. Look at the box scores. Washington ran the ball very well against Oregon last year.
I mean, Penix in the first game was 22 of 37, 302, and 4 touchdowns.
What they do run? What did Dylan Johnson do first game?
He ran 100 yards, 20 for 100.
Yeah, that's
so balance, but Penix still went off.
No, but they always had balance. The like that was the good part about. That's what I was always impressed with DeBoer Washington from afar. Is they, even though it wasn't as explosive, they'd always run it like 30 times a game.
But I also think Oregon probably went into that game expecting to stop the pass, probably played a little bit lighter in the box, where I do think this is a game where it's different mentality for Oregon. It's like, we're at home. We don't know if this guy is not Michael Penix Jr., so we're going to stop the run because they got 2 elite running backs and force him to throw the football, where I think it was the opposite mentality versus Washington.
Yes, and look, the Duck Knight, that's a great name, by the way, in the chat says lost to Penix by 3 twice. Washington ran well in the second game when the Ducks tried to lock in on the pass. Yeah, so that's kind of what I remember. So that's the thing. Right now, Travian Henderson leads the Big Ten, averaging 8 yards a carry. Quinshon Judkins is 4th at 7.8 yards a carry. But, Aaron, only a combined 20 attempts a game.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a bit that they've been getting out of these games because they've been killing teams, so they get a little rest early on. But like, I have to imagine if I'm Ohio State, I'm coming out here because of what we just said. You're on the road, Will Howard. That could be how you lose. I'm running the fuck out of the rock. And I'm going to make you prove that you can stop me there. And then I'll get to Will Howard and I'll run Will Howard.
Yep.
I'll have him running as well. But yeah, if I'm Ohio State, I'm trying to run the ball, rely on my defense, and let that be my path to victory.
I'm going to go with Oregon to win this football game. I think Will Howard is going to fuck up a couple times. I think Ohio State is the better overall roster, but to me, the game being in Eugene and just trusting Gabriel in moments like this, I think Will Howard's going to mess up a couple times. And I think the game's going to be too close where that's going to be the difference.
Do you have these spreads in front of you?
3
to Ohio State? I think Ohio State wins. I think they are. Oregon's just looked too flawed for me this year. And granted, they looked flawed against a schedule that's not that dissimilar from what Ohio State's played. So give me Ohio State, and I'll take Ohio State to cover the 3. So, Aaron, with the straight Oregon money line call, big time. Clint Moses, according to both fan bases, they've been holding back. Yeah, classic. I mean, that's everybody, right? That's what everybody always says.
I mean, the score's been that different. Ohio State beat Michigan State 38-7. Oregon beat them 31-10.
No. I'm talking about Oregon. I'm still talking about Idaho and Boise. You can say it's
whatever. Boise State's a good damn football team. Like that's
and you needed 2 non-offensive touchdowns to win the game. Otherwise, you'd already have an L by your name. I'll say that.
Let's go.
That's
Ducks.
fine. Yeah. I mean, look, to your point, the Oregon team Saturday is not at all the Oregon team that I am giving negative marks to. Yes. But still, I think Ohio State's better as well, and I think they're gaining in confidence. And we can't go through all this and not mention Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah.
They probably have the biggest freak on the field in Jeremiah Smith. And that's not even get into Ibuka and stuff. So yeah, give me the Buckeyes, and to cover the 3. Oh, well, I'd say that was informative and fun. If you agree, please hit the like button, sub, and we'll see you next time for some more snaps.